If you know anyone who has ever driven in Singapore, ask them what their least favorite expressway is. I guarantee at least 70% of them are going to say the Central Expressway, or the CTE for short. Why? It's just so crowded so often. And don't get them started on the number of times you'll have to sacrifice more of their hard-earned money to the ERP gods. Now, what if I told you that I have a serious proposal to make this CTE better? What would you think? More lanes? Maybe you think there should be more lanes. Could the solution be more lanes? You fool! A quick primer for those not in the know, induced demand is basically the concept of if you build it, they will come. This is true of traffic. If you build capacity for more cars, traffic will initially decrease, but more cars combined with additional capacity will bring in more drivers over time, which means more traffic. Hence, in this video, I will fix the CTE by destroying it. But destruction isn't good for much if you don't give those angry drivers another way to get to their downtown offices. So, instead, we're going to give them Singapore's next MRT line, the Central Line. To distinguish this line from a certain other central line, let's make this line a nice dark shade of maroon. Now there's no way you can ride this line and think a police officer is going to come up to you and ask if you got a license for the airport or water. The great thing about this part of the line is that the tunnels are already there. You just need to build the stuff inside and bada boom bada bing, you have some major cost saving. There are two stations which we can instantly assume will be good candidates to be interchanges, Fort Canning and Dhoby Ghaut. Both of these are extremely close to the CTE tunnels. Fort Canning presents the problem of the tunnels running directly under the Singapore River, which should hopefully be less of a problem with the tunnels already existing. They can probably just dig down to connect the new platforms to the Fort Canning Downtown Line platforms. Now we reach the behemoth that is Dhoby Ghaut MRT station. As someone who has transferred here a lot before, it's probably got some spare capacity in it. Extend the Circle Line platforms a bit further so that it's an easier connection to the new platforms and the Circle Line can run more trains, sorry for another day. You actually have a pretty neat mega station. There is one more station that we can fit in the tunnel section of the CTE, and it's probably even easier than the other two to build, because it's kind of not in the tunnel at all. At the southern end of the CTE tunnels, there is a cut and not cover area with a central island with supporting beams. If you bury it like it's Mr. Beast's reputation, you suddenly have a very appealing station box. The station is Pearl's Hill. Now at this point, you may be yelling at me, but the Lavender Lake, Ocean Park is right there. And you'd be right, but I did an interchange there for two reasons. One, it's not that close to the CTE tunnels, and we're being lazy today. Secondly, have you seen Ocean Park as an interchange? Dhoby Ghaut's interchange spaces like Baymax, while Ocean Park is like those stupid nanobots that killed the Dashi Mada. RIP. The point is, I think we should not overload Ocean Park as an interchange. Anyway, since we're in this part of the country, let's finish off the southern leg of this line. If you thought me stealing space from the CTE was nice, we're gonna do it twice. Here we have the Ayer Rajah Expressway, or the AYE for short. Admittedly, the AYE is sort of the vanilla ice cream of Singapore's expressways and is generally inoffensive, but I'm sure there's enough space in the median and in between the off-ramps to put down some work sites and get the tunnel boring machines down in the ground. This will allow us to reach three new stations at the foot of the southern ridges: Radin Mas, Henderson, and Alexandra, before terminating at Queenstown to make up for missing the Oldham connection earlier. These not only bring service to the bus-dependent older estates in southern Bukit Merah, but also make it much easier for the masses to have access to the wonder that is our Lord and Saviour Dahir Blahaj. Now, let's travel north to complete the core section of this line. The CTE curves a bit to avoid the hill that the Asana sits on, so this is the perfect time to drop a station and begin to diverge from the expressway route. This proposed station, Cairnhill, will probably be a bit like Bishan in terms of the partially at grade aesthetic. Now, another thing I want to use the Central Line to do is to fix a bunch of problems that I feel the MRT system currently has, and our next stop, Newton, has a perfect example of this. Newton is currently an interchange between the north-south and downtown lines, but because commuters have to tap out and tap back in, it is a terrible interchange. By the way, this is somehow still not the worst interchange the downtown line has, which is insane to say. By sticking one more line in there, this station can use the new platforms as an in-station transfer corridor, fixing this problem. Now, I would really like this line to continue to parallel the rest of the CTE up to Seletar, but I think that's kind of unnecessary. The reason is that there is already another line in the works, tentatively called the Seletar line, that will run quite close to the CTE. Anyway, the area near the CTE in this area is also rather low density, so unless the LTE wakes up one day and decides that Singapore shouldn't have a love affair with the car anymore and tears out the entire CTE and builds some HDBs there, it just isn't feasible. Though, I would like them to prove me wrong. So, let's focus on fixing something else instead. Another problem is that neighborhoods inside the Circle Line currently aren't particularly well served. If you look at current lines, there are long stretches of lines without interchanges, meaning commuters have to either take the train up to the Circle Line and fight half the population, take the train into the city centre and fight the whole tourist and white-collar population, or take the bus. All three options are suboptimal, in my opinion. We are going to make this next section of the Central Line an inner circle of sorts. Before then, we'll make a stop at the as yet unopened Mount Pleasant Station, which gives us a TEL link between Mist and Outram, and it's also easy to work on while mothball. You can't complain about a station being inaccessible during works if it's already closed. We'll then move east to Toa Payoh Station, and then Toa Payoh East Station, which serves as an interchange with the Seletar Line, and then Potong Pasir Station. Now, you might think that this line is going to curve south to finish the inner circle at Geylang Bahru and Kallang. But we're not going to do that because the Seletar Line is basically doing that for us already. Let's instead continue due east, building Bidadari Station to serve an already growing population centre before intersecting the Circle Line again at Tai Seng. This is a great station to become an interchange because it already has a lot of demand from being smack dab in the middle of an industrial estate, which is a significant job node. Now, remember a few seconds ago when I said an already growing population centre? It's time to serve a future population centre. The Air Force will move out of Paya Lebar Air Base sometime in the 2030s, and this line is basically in the perfect spot to serve most of the future development in this area. So, let's just shut down a few stations here, one for intersection with the Cross Island Line, and that's the backbone of the Central Line. It's good, but it's definitely just a starter. Like all good things in life, it comes with DLCs. What's an extra few billion for the good of the people anyway? Let's start with the West. I am a firm East Side Best Side truther, but we need to help the West at least make it competitive. If there's anything West-siders have recently realised about transit, is that they're unfortunately the butt of the joke. Hopefully, they will no longer be ass. Also, it does kind of annoy me that this line will intersect with every one of the other MRT lines in Singapore except for the Jurong Region line. In my mind, there are two possible routes west from Queenstown. As much as I prefer the scenic route, which heads north up Queensway with a station there, then hits Farrer Road, Ulu Pandan, Dover, NUS, and then Southern Clementi, it is quite a circuitous route. We want bang for our buck. So, we'll instead go back south through Portstown, which will hopefully help relieve congestion at One North Station, which we will also stop at to serve this general area. After all, this is a massive jobs hub for the biotech and Singaporean film industry, or whatever's left of the Singaporean film industry. Then, it also gives us an opportunity to potentially revitalise this part of the rail corridor near what used to be Tanglin Halt. Then, it converges with the other route for a stop at NUS, so they aren't jealous of NTU's 3 MRT stations, before terminating at a station along what should be an absolute no-brainer of a GRL extension to Haw Par Villa. This interchange station, which I will put here, and imaginatively call Clementi South, will be crucial in west side connectivity. This will be only the second line to give Clementi residents direct access to the city centre, which sounds like the sort of fact that shouldn't be true, like that all evolution eventually results in crabs, or that there's at least one kid in the world named Ashtray. Can we go even further west? Absolutely. The parts west of Jurong are practically crying out for an alternative to the east-west line into the city. We also can't forget that the southwest coast is a major industrial area that many people will be commuting to and from for work. We first cross under the Pandan River to reach Penjuru, and then cross under the Jurong River to reach Jurong Port Road on what should be the final stage of the Cross Island Line. From here, there is an alternating pattern of primarily industrial and primarily residential stops. Industry at Jurong Port Road, HDBs at Taman Jurong, take a sharp left to interchange with the Jurong Region Line at Enterprise, before finally terminating at every NTU student's least favourite MRT station, Pioneer. Okay, enough of that. It's time for my East Side Supremacist agenda to show its full colours. As someone who used to frequent Paya Lebar MRT station, I really like their Spanish solution set up on the Circle Line platforms. But currently, they only use it for a few trains a day that terminate at the station, which is boring. So instead, we'll have a spur of the line come down from Air Force Museum Station, pick up Ubi along the way, and terminate at Paya Lebar. I'm thinking you can do single track for the last few hundred meters into the station if you're feeling budget, or a New York City Hall style loop of track to allow for continuous service if you're feeling bougie. Finally, we reach the northeast, which is objectively the best part of Singapore, and by objectively I mean I live there. Now, this isn't doxing me because nearly 1 million people call the towns of the northeast home, including about 250,000 in Sengkang alone. The only line that currently serves this area is the Northeast Line, which is somehow even more over capacity than the Circle Line. A bit to the north, we will have the Cross Island Line Punggol extension, which for the first time brings MRT service to the outer reaches of the northern LRT systems. So, why not do the same thing one town south in Sengkang? We cross under the Serangoon River and into Sengkang Station, and then to Punggol, the furthest LRT station from the town centre at Fernvale will be our terminus. This is also convenient because unlike every other Sengkang LRT station, Fernvale actually reaches the ground floor, so we can have a nice proper in-station interchange. So there we have it, our completed Central Line. Including the Paya Lebar branch, it's 46 kilometers long and consists of 31 stations. I think, given recent events that have proven just how vulnerable the West Side is, Radin Mas to Clementi South should be Stage 1. Hopefully, the Jurong Region Line interchange will be up and running by then already. Then, Stage 2 will be the central section up to Mount Pleasant Station, making a new downtown corridor an immediate priority. I will assume this would start construction after 2029, when the new north-south corridor, which is a highway, should soak up a bunch of road traffic from the CTE, giving it perfect pickings to be converted into an MRT line. Stage 3 should start work shortly after, bringing the line to Tai Seng. Finally, Stage 4 should start work at roughly the same time as the rest of the redevelopment on the airbase grounds. Things are always easier to build when they're through undeveloped land, and we don't want a repeat of the mistakes of Tengah, where early residents became reliant on cars in a damn car-light neighbourhood. Stage 5 will probably bring the western branch to Pioneer, Stage 6 will be a link to Fernvale, and the branch to Paya Lebar can be built whenever, honestly. Given that this line serves as an inner circle to the Circle Line for several north-south routes and will be a main component in service to a potentially massive new population centre at Paya Lebar Airbase, it can't be medium capacity. The Circle Line is already suffering under its own weight because of the decision to make it a medium capacity line. And frankly, we don't need more people saying,
I won't say I enjoyed the ride, but that is life.
I honestly think we should probably use a rolling stock that's similar to the one the Northeast Line uses. Sans overhead power, of course. 6-car trains would be a great help with how many interchanges we are putting in this line. Taking the line in its entirety, it serves as a corridor for Westies and future residents of the housing estates of Paya Lebar Air Force to reach downtown, while also serving a crucial role in connecting several neighbourhoods inside the Circle Line. It could be a game changer, which is why I would now like to talk directly to the LTA. They're definitely not watching, I just want to talk. LTA, please, I'm begging you, we need more high-capacity lines, especially on a system built for 3 million people serving a city of 6 million people. So please, think of the children, the Jadens and Braydens and Jians and Kaishens who live in Hangarville or whatever they decide to call the future neighbourhoods in the airbase. Please, they need this line. They need the central line. Consider it, please. Thank you, everyone, for watching the video and putting up with my weird ramblings. If you like this video, do feel free to drop me a like and subscribe. It really inflates my ego, I guess. And see you whenever I decide to make my next video. Goodbye!